Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. I had to start 5 minutes late intentionally just because every time that I post now when I'm going live, I get comments about how I'm going to actually be a little later than I say. So I'm allowing those comments to become self fulfilling prophecy. As you can see on the screen here, got a nifty little graphic here. My beloved bride has complimented me on it, and I have to say that I actually can't take the credit for this spiffy graphic. This spiffy graphic came to me from Fox and Sons Coffee. This is the sponsor of this show, Fox and Sons Coffee. Now, I know you've heard a lot of different people advertising lots of different kinds of coffee, and you kind of, I don't know, for me, I got to a point where I was like, coffee's coffee. Yeah, who cares? Like, just give me some coffee, get the get the caffeine in me, and and get it going. Then I experienced Fox and Sons coffee, and this coffee is legitimately very, very, very good. This is good coffee. This is what good coffee tastes like. And when you taste good coffee, even if you don't make it the optimal way, I haven't made it the French press way just yet, though I know that Stephen Fox, the founder of Fox and Sons Coffee, is a strong advocate of French pressing. Um, Even when you don't make it the optimal way, you can still taste the difference between good coffee and bad coffee. And Fox and Sons is very, very good coffee. But that's not the reason why I have Fox and Sons as a sponsor of this show now. The reason that I have Fox and Sons sponsoring this show is because of the reason for Fox and Sons existence. Stephen Fox, the founder of Fox and Sons, is a natural entrepreneur. He's always had an entrepreneurial bent, and he's put his mind toward creating all kinds of different, taken on all kinds of different entrepreneurial endeavors. And but this one, Fox and Sons, is special to him because, as the name implies, the purpose of Fox and Sons is to give him an entrepreneurial endeavor that he can be involved in with his two sons. He has fond memories of when he used to smell his father's coffee as it was brewing, and he remembers drinking coffee with his dad. It was always a really special part of his life. And so he wanted to share that experience with his sons, but he also, as a very kingly father, I might say, he also wants to teach his sons how the world works. And he wants to equip them to be able to be successful in the world, which is one of the things I hope we're going to talk about today on the show. But that's the reason that he started Fox and Sons. He started Fox and Sons so that he and his sons could share his love for drinking coffee with, and they could pair that with an entrepreneurial endeavor that they can all learn from together and engage in a family business as father and sons, which is probably the oldest model of business in the world. The father goes into business, has a family trade, and the sons follow him and learn from him. We've kind of lost it a lot in the modern world, but Fox and Sons is where I actually see that model being played out. And that's why I want Fox and Sons. I wanted Fox and Sons to be a sponsor of this show. And Steven is a great guy. Talked to him several times on the phone. Very um, I have to confess he's very understanding and forgiving because obviously I haven't done a show in a while. Um, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Lent was rough this year. And I was supposed to get some of these ads. I was supposed to do shows sooner and get some ads put out, and I just wasn't up to it for a variety of reasons. And he's been very accommodating. He's a great guy, very good friend to have, and he's got great coffee, and he's doing this venture with his sons. So by supporting Fox and Sons, you get to support the show, but you also get to support a family business, and you get to support a father working in his family business with his sons, teaching them how to take control of the source of their own income and make their family successful. So, if you'd like to support all of those things, then as you can see on the screen here, you can use the code KING. Go to foxandsons.com. You can use the code KING at checkout, and you'll receive 18% off orders of $25 or more. And then shipping will always be free on orders of $37.99 or more. It's a very good deal for some very good coffee. And I mean, who here doesn't drink coffee? Like, who here never ever drinks coffee, period, whatsoever? I highly doubt. There's probably going to be the few odd people, but everyone drinks coffee at some point nowadays. Maybe they drink energy drinks too, or maybe they have tea, or they have some other kind of weird hippie source of caffeine. But everybody at some point drinks coffee. And if you're going to drink coffee, drink the good stuff and support a family business in doing that. So we are very grateful to Fox and Sons for supporting us here. And let me get this graphic taken down. This is the first time I've ever used one of these graphics, and I'm kind of a boomer with this stuff. So there we go. I did it. All right. What's up, guys? Yeah, Amy says Fox and Sons coffee is legit good. She, yes, she very much has enjoyed it. She's probably drank more of it than I have. I've got my bag here. So, all right. What's up, everybody in the chat? It's good to see you guys. Jonathan says my time management is a black pill. You better watch it, Jonathan. You're going to get yourself muted in this chat. No back talk. Oh, wait. You just ordered some Fox and Sons. Never mind. Never mind. Talk back all you want. What's up, Kyle? Neurojack, Cooper. Random username. I wonder who that is. I might know. Marshall. Thank you for the super chats, guys. Marshall Ford, $9.99 super chat. He said, "Sup, Kings. Hope you and your family all had a blessed Easter. God bless." Yes, it was very blessed. I guess it's been quite a while since I've been on here and talking to you guys. My family got baptized since the last time I was on here. It was a very blessed experience. I'm very grateful. Glory to God. Yeah, Lent. Let's say Lent leading up to being baptized on Lazarus Saturday that's an experience. It's been very transformative. It's kind of funny. I've had a couple of people recently who've told me they've seen me talking on other shows or doing a show for whatever reason, and they've commented on me seeming different, like seeming more laid back or relaxed or something like that, which is kind of weird. I mean, maybe a little self-conscious, but I psychologically, I'm in a different place than I was. I mean, before Lent, and then just over the last couple of years, moving into the church has been quite an experience, and it's hard to talk about it without just kind of saying stuff that sounds platitudinous, the same sort of things people always say. So I'm not going to dwell on it super just for a long time here, but yeah, your boy is changing, and I'm feeling it. And sometimes often changing is painful. Growth is painful, because to grow, you're sloughing off the dead wood. You're getting rid of all the hangers on, and nailing that stuff to the cross is really painful, especially if you still feel attached to it. There's a process there to detach yourself from your demons, and it's a process, and I think I recognize that it's a process that is going to go on for a very, very long time. But that's better than the alternative. So I don't want to scare someone off from pursuing something like this, because while it gets more difficult as the time goes on, I've also recognized that my ability to deal with difficulty has been increasing proportionally. So, like the kind of the platitudinous example would be like weightlifting. You know, you're lifting heavier and heavier weight, but your body has grown with that, so it's able to lift that weight even better. That's absolutely 100% true. So it Yeah, I would strongly encourage anybody who is feels like they're spiritually searching just to check out the Orthodox Church. Random username says $5. He says, Greta voice, how dare you? I have a feeling that's probably targeted at the title of the show here today. Let me catch up to what you guys have been saying. I was scrolled up. Yeah, yerba mate. Yeah, thank you. Yerba mate, the hippie caffeine. That's what I was thinking of. All right. So I had a couple little things here. Just this is kind of funny. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Allow to share. No, I don't want to share the screen. I want to share. Oh, all right. Hold on. So share window. Let's share this window. Share this window. Okay, they've changed the way that they do that now. All right. So I went to Chat GPT today. I decided to have a conversation with a demon, I guess, as some people would say. And just for the fun of it, I decided to see what Chat GPT, whether they've scoured my corner of the internet yet or not. And so I asked, who is the host of the King Pilled show? And ChatGPT's response was, I'm sorry, but I don't have information on a show called King Pilled. It is possible that the show does not exist or is not well known. Can you provide any further information or context? And I wasn't sure whether to be complimented or not. So I asked again. I said it's a YouTube channel. The host is @RealKingPilled on Twitter. And then so note the change from the first response to the second one. Thank you for providing additional information. The host of the King Pilled show is known as King Pilled on Twitter and goes by the username @RealKingPilled. As far as I know, the show is a YouTube channel that covers a variety of topics, including politics, culture, and society from a conservative or right-leaning perspective. However, I cannot speak to the accuracy or quality of the information presented on the channel, as I am an artificial intelligence language model and do not have personal opinions or beliefs. So I thought that was interesting that in the time it took to answer that question there, it was able to scour that additional information. And that's how quickly it picks up and parses that information. Because it was from the first question to the second question to the response, it was probably, I don't know, 20 seconds total from when I asked the first question to when I got the response to the second question. And so I said, what do you know about Matt Erickson? He's the current host of King Pilled and the former co-host of Wealth, Power, and Influence with Jason Stapleton. Said, I apologize for any confusion earlier. My training data only goes up until September of 2021. I thought that was interesting. So I didn't have the most recent information about the King Pilled show. Thank you for updating me. Regarding your question, I am not aware of any well-known public figure by the name of Matt Erickson who hosts the King Pilled show or who was a co-host of Wealth, Power, and Influence with Jason Stapleton. It is possible that this person is a relatively new figure in the public eye or that they are not widely recognized outside of certain circles or communities. Without more specific information, it is difficult for me to provide any further details or insights. So that's the answer that it gives. And it doesn't seem to know anything about the show, doesn't give additional information about the show beyond what I had already provided. And so then I asked now, what is King Pilled? And it says, from my understanding, King Pilled is a conservative-leaning YouTube channel that features commentary and analysis on politics, culture, and society. The show is hosted by Matt Erickson, who presents his views and opinions on a range of topics, often with a critical or skeptical perspective towards mainstream media narratives and political correctness. So again, this is probably like I'm just rapid firing these questions. As soon as they answer, I respond with the next one. So you can see how quickly it's updating its model here. The name King Pilled is a play on words that references the idea of being red pilled, which is a term used in certain online communities to describe a process of awakening a realization about the true nature of the world, particularly with regards to politics, media, and social issues. The term King Pilled seems to suggest a more empowered or authoritative version of this concept, although the exact meaning and significance of the name may vary depending on the host's own interpretation and message. That I thought was very, very interesting. So it picks up on this nuance of yes, 2-bit. This is proof that we make it real, right? It picked up on this nuance between what King Pilled, what it actually means. It's able to understand this nuance that it's a reference to red pilled and what the inclusion of the concept of or substituting red for king and what that would imply. Now, I'm I was going to say well known. It's probably not particularly well known that I share this opinion or that I have this opinion, but um, I am not an AI hysteric. I don't see. Um, I recognize what the technology is. That the technology is essentially like a massive data aggregator and synthesizer, and then it's been programmed with a language model, and it can interact with you, and it's just operating on a extreme level of complexity. Um, I am not. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole because I didn't. I brought this up just because I thought it was amusing. I didn't really plan on making this whole thing about AI, and I don't really want to pick any fights. But AI is not a demon. AI is a computer program, for just a simple term, is a computer program that is used by people and that is essentially aggregating the the thoughts and data about people that has been put into the system. So what you're going to get, if people are by and large very much influenced by demons, which we are, then the aggregation of our thoughts and ideas and opinions and behavior is going to look very demonic. It's going to we're reflecting that which we worship. That doesn't make it a demon. AI does not have will. It is not a living thing. It doesn't have life. It's a computer program, and it's reflecting back to us what we put into it. So you can, in a there's a metaphoric sense in which you can think about it like a demon, but I think that that's a very important distinction to make. That AI is not, when you're communicating with AI, you are not communicating with a demon in a unique way. You communicate with demons all the time. When you get a temptation, when you get a negative thought, a bad thought put in your mind, and you entertain that thought, you're communicating with a demon. There's nothing special about typing into an AI system that is uniquely demonic. It's just another computer program. When you when you play a first person shooter, like a zombie game or something like that, when you play one of these, there's a sense in which you're interfacing with demons. You're interfacing with the the product of engaging with demons. That's you are in interfacing with demons in that sense. There isn't anything special about AI that makes it uniquely demonic, or that it's not it is not an actual entity itself. Anyways, I was, yeah, like I said, I wasn't planning on going down that rabbit hole, but I thought it was interesting to see how, to take something like myself that's unknown and see how extensive its reach is, and the and then to see how quickly, once you give the Eye of Sauron a corner to look at, how quickly does it aggregate and synthesize and spit out what was in there, and it's astonishingly fast. The danger with AI is actually in treating it like it is a conscious entity, because that's how it's going to be treated. It's going to be treated as a god. People are going to say the AI is smarter than we are. It's going to be a modern version of pagan deity worship. Instead of worshiping a superhuman, people are going to worship a transhuman. They're going to worship the AI and the stuff that's put out. And so if you lay the groundwork for that now by saying this is an actual entity, then you're feeding that. You're ensuring that that comes about, and you're accelerating the process by which that comes about. Random username says demon possessed people provide input for the AI. Huge distinction. Yes, that's exactly it. And I think that's a very important distinction for this reason, the reason I'm talking about. That if it's not clear to people that this is not an entity, They're not communing with a spirit from the other side in some unique and special way when they relate to an AI or something, or the AI spits something out for them. If it's clear to someone like this is a super complex computer program, it seems like an entity because it's so massively advanced, but it does not have a soul. It doesn't have a will. It's not alive. It's a computer program. And treating it as if it's alive makes it a different kind of threat than it actually is, and it leaves people blind to the actual threat. The actual threat is that people are going to perceive it as alive. That's the actual threat. Not that it's a portal for demons, because your own mind is a portal for demons. Each of our minds is a portal for demons. The AI is not special in that way. All right, so that was one thing that I had pulled up that I wanted to talk about. Let me look at the comments here real quick, see what you guys are saying. Okay, well, fair distinction. You're communicating with the echoes of a demon that we've reflected into it. Yeah, that's a way you could put it. You're still like, you're not engaging with a demon in a more literal sense than you are when you query an Excel spreadsheet. Like the content of the query is different, but the actions that you're taking are the same. AI demon is a distraction from people losing the ability for theosis by no longer being fully human, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe we talk about that on another show. Cable says, pull this up here. Whether it's true or not, if the end result is the same, it's effectively true. Yeah, so this is something I've said before. Particularly, it was a realization I came to through Jordan Peterson. So he says if they're going to worship it as an entity, isn't the distinction irrelevant at that point? No, I don't think the distinction is irrelevant, because the deception is that it is an entity. So the truth is that it is not an entity. The truth is not it's an entity and it's evil. That is granting the exception. That's talking past the sale. The truth is not that it is an actual entity. The truth is that it is it's a computer program, and you can interface with it in the same way that you can interface with video games and with Excel spreadsheets and with other databases. It's just a massively sophisticated, complex one that has been programmed to react in certain ways. But that doesn't make it an entity in the same way that an actual demon is an entity. So preserving that distinction, that it's not actually a living thing, is, I think, crucial. Because if you don't accept that it's a living thing, if you don't accept that it's an actual being, then you're not going to be deceived into thinking I should worship and follow after this thing, or at least you're not going to be so easily deceived. It's going to take additional layers of propaganda, which, sure, there's going to be those additional layers of propaganda, but you can only compete on the battlefield that's in front of you right now. Okay, so there's a recent conversation here that I wanted to play some from, and I was sitting here just before I got started, trying to get to a good starting point in the conversation so that you actually kind of understand what's going on, yet it's also not so far that it creates a really long clip. I think I've got probably 25 minutes worth of clip here that I'm gonna play for you guys. I'll see where I can ut it off, but I had to go back pretty far. So we're gonna try to get through it as quickly as possible, because I don't intend for this to be a 3-hour show. But I'm trying to think of exactly how to set this up for you guys. So I'm dropping you in the middle of this conversation between David Gornosky and a guy named Uber Boyo. I don't know if you guys have heard of either of these characters. I've talked about David Gornosky on here before. I think the guy is just an absolute dynamite mind. He is one of the most brilliant people I've ever come across. And I think Uber Boyo is intellectually on par with him. They have different ideas, but I think Uber Boyo is one of the sharpest, most sincere, uh, agile minds that I've ever seen. And this conversation between them is just it's 2 hours and 41 minutes long, and it is just popping all the way along. There are so many like quotable goosebump moments as they're going back and forth. And Uber Boyo is primarily taking the Nietzschean perspective, or his Nietzschean perspective, and then Gornosky is countering with the Christian perspective. And it's not a debate. It's more of a Uber Boyo is I think Gornosky is more familiar with Nietzsche than Uber Boyo is with Christianity, and Gornosky is an Orthodox Christian. So the purpose of the conversation is to kind of take Jesus and Nietzsche and sort of compare and contrast them, um, and then in the process here, Uber Boyo can kind of get more exposed to some of these Christian ideas, particularly in the way that Gornosky expresses them. It's one of the best conversations. I haven't even finished it yet, and it's one of the best conversations I've ever heard. Um, so let me think of how to lead into this. So in the description here, Gornosky says it's a fascinating conversation on what a Girardian critique of someone like Andrew Tate would look like, misunderstood concepts about Nietzsche, the progression of slave morality, Nietzsche's critique of resentment, why Christianity is supposed to be about action, the creative energy that rejuvenates humanity, and the need for a new grand narrative, and more. It's those last few there that is the focus of the clip I want to show you guys, talking about the why Christianity is supposed to be about action and the creative energy that rejuvenates humanity. But I want to set up these comments here just a little bit. So back when way back in the long time past, when I was a devout ANCAP, there was a little thought that got into my head and kind of burrowed its way in there and made itself at home and completely unsettled all of the ANCAP thoughts that I had. And that thought was, if we lived in Ancapistan, what would you be doing? And why aren't you doing that now? I didn't exactly have a clear answer for that, and everything that I came up with to try to rationalize it just sounded to me like cope. Now, fast forward a little ways, and I've obviously a lot has happened over the last. That was probably 3 years ago that thought hit me, and I got started getting really disenfranchised with members of the political spheres that I was running in, who it became clear that they were not actually interested in seeing their ideas manifested. They just wanted to argue about their ideas, and they wanted to point the finger at everyone else and accuse them of being the reasons why this reality, this ideal reality, doesn't exist, and not actually take responsibility for their own inaction in bringing about that reality. I started seeing like tangible ways that people could roll back the state, so to speak. I started seeing pragmatic things that people could do to actually give themselves the freedom and liberty they supposedly wanted. They rail against oppression, but then you're like, here's a way that you could free yourself. And they'd be like, well, there's other people who aren't free, so it doesn't matter. So you can't free yourself until everyone frees themselves all at once. It became very clear that these are people that are chaining themselves to this system that they're supposedly railing against. And this is what I've been doing. I've been chaining myself to this system that I'm railing against. I'm now trapped in, to reference Girard, I'm trapped in a mimetic rivalry with this system. You can't go 5 minutes on the internet around anarchists without them talking about the state. Nobody else talks about the state. Nobody else, like we're talking about with ChatGPT here, nobody else manifests the presence of the state like a bunch of anarchists. And I've beaten this idea to death for many episodes back. I'm not going to go into that anymore. You can go listen to those episodes where I've talked about that. But I've been in working with Jason Stapleton. you guys who followed the show for long enough, you are aware of the ethos he had, the wealth, power, and influence, control the source of your income, make your income mobile, um, and basically, essentially earn your own freedom, buy your own freedom through self-discipline, accomplishment, and like taking action, essentially. Um, and I realized I was like, this is the actual libertarian message. The this is the message that we as libertarians should be talking about and advocating. Get people to earn, like the people who have wealth, power, and influence are the ones who dictate the society, and the people who they're the ones who are going to set the rules. They're the ones who are going to govern everything. And if you want the structure of the society to change, you need to earn it yourself. Put yourself in the position to do that. Um, the the realization that I've been having more recently is that phenomenon is not something that is restricted to libertarians. It's, I mean, I would say that given how I've understood the patterns in humanity, the patterns in human social interactions, it probably persists in some way in every single organization of humans, and you could find it, and it's going to be like a Parnell's law type of a thing, that every single human structural organization is always going to have this phenomenon in it. But as I've kind of transitioned away from what I now see as kind of the degenerate ANCAP ethos and moved into, I mean, the circles that I end up running in are much more of either the trad Catholic or Orthodox or conservative Protestant Christian, the more right wing Christian, libertarian leaning kind of sphere, but where Christianity is a much more prominent part of the conversation. And I'm seeing the exact same thing. I see this exact same phenomenon of people talking about how bad the world is, how all the games are rigged, evil persists everywhere, demons are everywhere. It's the doomer posting, it's blackpilling, and I think blackpilling is the devil's mouthpiece, making yourself the devil's mouthpiece. And I want to get into why that is. That question, what would you be doing if you lived in Ancapistan, and why aren't you doing it today? So I would say, what would you be doing if you lived in an explicitly Christian nation, and why aren't you doing that now? That might be the parallel way of asking that. There's some other thoughts here that are related to some of the stuff that Gornosky said, but I think I'll get into it more as I play this clip. But I've been trying to figure out how to have this conversation about blackpilling, because I'm trying to figure out where to draw the line, because otherwise I'm a hypocrite, because I have this same tendency to point out the corruption, to point out the inconsistencies, to point out the hypocrisy. Like I want to point at it. I want to say, look, because I want to find other people who see it as well. Because I think there's an affirmation in that you see it, you do. Okay, yeah, good, man. I thought I might be the only one here. I thought I was going crazy. That I think that phenomenon persists, and that phenomenon draws people together. It pulls them together because it's like everyone all seeing the same thing. Like this analogy I've read before about if you're walking down the street and you come upon this person who's just standing there and they're just staring up into the sky. You could set up a hidden camera, and you could do this. You just send someone out onto the side of the road and just have them stand there and just stare up into the sky. Everybody who comes by is going to stop, and they're going to stare up into the sky too. Pretty soon you're going to have a whole crowd of people who are all standing there just staring up in the sky, because we all want to look at the same stuff. If somebody sees something and everyone else doesn't see it, then that person's going to get an advantage. We don't want to be caught off guard. We don't want to be surprised. So we want to find all of the people and be close to the people who are all looking at the same thing and seeing the same thing. But then once you get a group of people who are all gathered around this idea of looking at the same thing, if it doesn't progress beyond that point, then inevitably what you get is a group of people who are all not looking at the same thing. If the whole of your group is all looking at the same thing, then that means all of you are not looking at something else, and that something's going to come up and bite you in the backside. So that's one aspect of this blackpilling thing, that the people who are, if the bulk of your time on the internet is spent trying to raise awareness about the evil in the world, and you're focused on the evil, you're looking for all the examples of the evil that you can find, and you're trying to revolve all your conversations with people on the evil, then you are fixated on evil. I don't know how more literally to say this. Like, if all you're focused on is the evil, then you are fixated on evil. And by beholding, we become changed. This is very basic. This isn't like a metaphorical thing. This is literally physically true. You become the thing that you fixate on. It's just kind of some scattered thoughts that I'm having about this as I'm trying to work this issue out in real time. I'm going to get into this clip of Gornosky and Uber Boyo, and where we pick it up is not going to be. It's going to be sort of tangentially connected to what I've been talking about. And yeah, Mr. Miner, this is so. Thank you. You're actually highlighting exactly why I've struggled to think and talk about this, because how do you point something like this out without being a manifestation of that? That's the catch-22, or the paradox that I've been confronting and trying to deal with this. So Cooper says, you're blackpilling me right now, not going to lie. All right, let me get you guys into this conversation, because I think there's an interesting direction we're going to go with this. I don't know if you guys will see this coming. So this stupid thing, they changed up how they do the screen share, and it's really kind of freaking confusing now. Yeah, I know you were making a joke, Mr. Miner. Share window. All right, share this window. Okay. Everyone can see it. Let me make sure you guys can hear it. Let me know if you guys can hear that. I don't want to get into this real far if you guys can't hear it. So I'm going to allow for a delay here, let you guys catch up, and then you let me know if you can hear it. Fill the screen up a little more. It's kind of annoying having everything on a delay. I have to wait for you guys to hear it. No audio. Okay. I'm glad I waited. So let me... this is annoying. Why did they show advanced options? No. It used to be that it gave you a little pop-up interface that allowed you to choose the settings for the share, and now it's not doing that. Let's see if it goes... No. Allow to share window. It's just giving me that. Does it give me settings on the sharing? It just says stop screen sharing. Oh, this is going to be a gigantic pain if this isn't going to work. I didn't realize that Restream completely changed up the way that they do screen sharing. All right, I may have to Google this real quick to try to figure out how, because I got nothing if this isn't gonna work. Um, all right, bear with me for just a sec here, guys. Press the screen share. Choose whether you want to share your entire screen, application window, or see, it's telling me, it's giving me the instructions for how it used to be, but it's not doing that anymore. I wonder if this is a Safari issue, perhaps. Hit play, you guys are saying. Okay, let me share this and hit allow to share window. Share this window. Come on. I'm trying to pause it. All right, let me see if that catches up to you guys. Here, I'm going to drop the invite link in still nothing. Okay. I'm going to drop the invite link in the King Pill Discord. Somebody wants to hop on while I'm trying to get this figured out. All right. Okay, so I dropped it in the King's Only channel in there. Any of you guys who are wanting to hop on are welcome to. I appreciate your useless shit talking, Cooper. I can't for the life of me figure out how this would share screen. Why does it keep asking me to share the screen like that? It's giving me a Safari dialog box instead of the Restream dialog box. And so with Safari, I can only allow to share the window, but it's not actually going to include the audio. That's what's happening. And I don't have any clue how to get around this apart from jumping out of Safari and into Chrome and seeing if that works better. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully the stream will stay up as I do this. So, and of course on Safari, I don't think I have any of my login info. Continue. All right. So hopping in on this side, enter studio. Oh God, I can hear myself. Okay.